This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino. A meal isn't just about what's on your plate. It's about what you bring to the table. San Pellegrino believes the table is where the best of life happens. That's what makes gathering around it so rich and rewarding. And with their unique sparkling natural mineral water, San Pellegrino brings its best so you can bring yours.
Welcome to Farm Here Daily, a Field Forward podcast. I'm David Geiger, your host. I've been on Iowa TV and radio for the last decade, and I am excited to join you on this podcast, Farm Here Daily. Today on the program, we'll speak with the Associate Dean at Iowa State University in Agriculture Extension, Jay Harmon. We'll cover some of the field days and some of the historical significance of ISU Extension. Please be sure to like and follow the podcast as well as our social media at Field Forward Pod. We would love to have you join our community, making sure folks in Iowa are informed about what is affecting our farmers. This is Farm Here Daily. And joining us on Farm Here Daily, we have Jay Harmon. He's the Associate Dean at Iowa State University, also the Ag Extension Programs and Outreach Director. Jay, always good to be able to you about the stuff going on at Extension over there at ISU, and thanks for joining us. Could you tell me a little bit about some of the highlighted events? That's kind of the thing I'm really interested in hearing about this summer.
Oh yeah, this summer, summers are always a busy time in agriculture, of course, but we have lots of field days going on. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but ISU has several research farms around the state, and so all of them host different events. And I think we have, somehow I lost my map here, but I think we have 13 different farms that we have around the state, and all of them are hosting different things. Some of them are quite interesting, but I'll just touch on a few and feel free to interrupt me. But for instance, many of them have just ordinary field days where they're looking at different crops. Many of the farms try to focus on maybe trying out something that a normal producer might not want to try on their own farm, just a gee whiz kind of thing. But then they'll also have many speakers that are high level, maybe from campus, maybe our regional staff to talk. One of the interesting things that's really drawn a lot of attention is a strip tillage day. And this year they're going to do it down at our Crawfordsville farm, just south of Iowa City there. And I think the last time they did it, 250 people showed up. So there was a lot of interest in that, and they had different equipment running. And so they're going to try to do that again this year. They've got a weed science field day that they're doing. You know, there's, of course, everybody's interested in how to handle weeds. Let's see, on my list also, we have like the beef feedlot short course goes on in here in Ames in July. And that short course, the last time they offered it, that, you know, in Extension, we try to measure impact a lot. And they measured that producers said that changes they made based on what they learned was worth $90 million. And now that was across 12 million cattle, because they had a lot of people there. But, you know, that's a really cool thing to think about, is help on the beef feedlot. Swine Day is coming up in Ames as well. We have our conservation drainage school. So there's a 3-day school where they train people on what they need to know about drainage tile and drainage systems. There's also a haying equipment demo that they've set up, and this is in conjunction with the Northern Iowa Community College. It's up at Kalmar. Kalmar has a dairy, and so it made sense to do a haying equipment demo there, and they'll have lots of different equipment there. You can see different demonstrations of equipment, and our crops team is in charge of that. Let's see. I think one of the things that we do on a regular basis is something called Crops TV. Now, this is in the winter; it's not in the summertime, but it's a thing that people subscribe to, sort of like Netflix from ISU, I guess. So that's been really popular for our people. Producers that fill out the survey for us said that was worth $5 an acre for them, and so it's really cool that they're learning those things that they feel like are really generating income for them. And last year they totaled up how long the total watch time was on that, and it was 104 days. Now that's across everybody that watched it, but that was kind of interesting. It's
incredible.
One of those facts that it's like, yeah, you don't really need to know that, but it's kind of cool to hear about. One of the really popular things that we've been working on has been our digital ag program, and all farmers just love new technology and tractors and anything with iron and electronics is just cool. And so one program that we've done several years, and there's been waiting lists even to take it, is Planner University. Generally that happens about February, and they teach all sorts of things about how to plant and make adjustments and get good seed earth contact and improve your rates, germination rate and so forth. And that, again, they were finding between $5 and $10 per acre, or $10 to $15, pardon me, on the impact of that program. And as I said, every year it seems like there's a waiting list. But the other one is drones. Everybody seems to be interested in drones. And so we've started doing some programming with them. Partly the extension's approach is let's teach people about it. And some people may say, that's not for me, and others may get excited and want to try it. And so our goal is to just educate people so they can make the wise decisions. And so we have several programs on drones, but one of them coming up in late June is actually one that would help you get an FAA Part 107 license, which you have to take this test, but this is a kind of a test prep thing that would help you be able to do that. And then they're also working on a Combine University program, which is kind of cool. They're not sure what that looks like exactly, but they're hoping to try that out before harvest this year anyway, just to try it out. So there's other stuff coming up that's in development. We're working on a cybersecurity piece. We're doing a lot of succession planning type programs. It seems like that's a very popular topic. And so there's just many things. We base everything we do on what we see as needs of the producers. And so we're trying to meet those in hopefully imaginative ways. So
these are all very important topics in agriculture. I hear about that a lot from folks out and about. I think the other thing that I find very interesting as you talk about this is just the historical legacy of what you guys are doing, especially with some of those farms, as research farms. Could you tell me, some of them are kind of celebrating some pretty significant number of years that they've been working?
Yeah, our northern farm this year on June 26th is they are celebrating 95 years, and our farms are kind of unique. And I think the majority of our farms, there's 13 around the state, but the majority of them, I think it's 8, but I don't quote me on that exactly. But many of them are owned by these groups of farmers, and that's a really cool concept. This northern farm near Kanawha is actually our oldest, and what happened was farmers decided they needed research and demonstration in their area. And at that time, soybeans weren't even on the radar because this was 95 years ago. But they had crops that Iowa State was doing research here in Ames, but they thought, well, our soil types are a little different. And so they went together and raised the money and bought the start of this farm. And I don't know if the other associations caught on from that idea or if it happened on their own. So, all these farms were bought by farmers. So, Iowa farmers are very innovative. They saw the value in that way back. I mean, this was during the Depression, so there wasn't a lot of extra money laying around. And so over time, we've gotten quite a few. And the associations that purchased those, or maybe the descendants of those people, are still involved in helping us figure out how to run the farm and what's valuable to them. So it's a really cool facility. They just raised money to build a new center there that we can hold classes in and so forth. And so, it's a really prized thing that Iowa State has access to that we can use to help work with farmers.
I am really impressed and amazed by that because I think just the established ability to consistently continue to research the same area has to be very important to the progression of that scientific analysis of what things can do in that area. Do you feel the same?
Yeah. Plus, the problems are different, and it could be there's different weed pressure in different part of the state, or we've had we have an entomologist that works with bugs, and there's army worms in one part of the state. We need to be able to talk about that, and sometimes those farms help demonstrate some of that. So the soil types, I think the farms are situated such that they're all in kind of different major soil types, and so that gives us a little more freedom as well. And people like to see how would that work in my area, so that always adds credibility. So it's a lot of community involvement, so we're really pleased with that relationship. They're all called research and demonstration farms. Extension plays a large role in it, but the College of Agriculture is very involved as well. They really are the head in leading those. So
this episode is brought to you by Tic Tac. Summer tastes like Tic Tac. Tantalize your taste buds this sunny season with citrus adventure and orange. 2 everyday flavors that bring summer in every. Tic Tac Citrus Adventure is a yummy, vibrant medley of lemon, lime, and mandarin. And Tic Tac Orange is the perfect mix of tangy and sweet. Visit us at Tic Tac USA on social to refresh your summer with Tic Tac.
Jay, I think I'd like to also ask, more broadly speaking, just the historical impact and legacy that Extension, ISU Extension, and Outreach does for our farmers in the state. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you think of that?
Well, I'm always amazed at how Extension started because, it's the same kind of thing that we talked about with this farm. Now, the farm we talked about being established was 1930, but even prior to 1900, we had people being innovative and trying to do training and so forth. Extension wasn't really started by the federal government until 1914, but Iowans led the way. So in 1903, Sioux County worked with this. We had a professor here at the time named Perry Holden that had these, they called them seed gospel trains. And so he would load up a train and use it like a classroom, and he'd go to parts of the state and teach about corn because, corn was something that not everybody knew how to grow in an effective way. And so that was kind of the start of Extension here in Iowa. And then, of course, when the federal government started, the Smith-Lever Act is what created Extension. We jumped on board right away. We claim to be the first to accept it. There's some people that might disagree with that, but over time we've tried to adjust and meet the needs of farmers. We also, of course, 4-H clubs were started back then. They were called corn clubs, I think, back then as well. We have programming in human health, human sciences as well. And then we have community and economic development. And so we've tried to grow and morph over time of what what our clients need, because needs are really an important part of what drives us.
Jay, before I let you go, just wanted to ask if there's anything you're looking forward to in the future here that's brewing over there at Extension and ISU. I know you obviously have these field days going on, but anything else that you're excited about?
Well, just to see the innovation of our people. You know, extension is really based on relationships, and so we have people in the field, our regional specialists especially, are seeing producers often. They know what their needs are, they're trying to understand it, and so some of those are really transforming into some of these, like succession planning, for instance. We knew that was a need, and we're working to develop something. Some of that will be delivered in person, and some of it will be an online resource. So um, just those things. One of the other things that we're kind of working on, we always strive to be better, and so and if you're around many of us, you realize that we're all trained in something other than education. So I'm an ag engineer, for instance. There are others that are agronomists, but we're not trained as educators. So we're constantly trying to become better educators. How do we make our programming more interesting? How do we make it so the learners get the point better? How do we involve it, make it more interactive? I think people like the interactive better. Um, we have our manure applicator certification that goes on every year. And, this is a required training, but Dr. Dan Anderson, who leads that program, came up with this idea to talk about manure spills and things. And he uses toy trucks and toy tractors, and he has these people gather in, groups of 4, and they go through this, look like they're playing with tractors and trucks. And when he first told me that, I thought, these are guys that haul manure for a living. They're not going to do that. And they get into it. They enjoy it. They learn something. So I think trying those new educational methods where we have to take a few risks. Sometimes you take a risk and something doesn't work, but it's really cool to see people try to reach people in new and effective ways.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to end our conversation. Associate Dean at Iowa State University, also the Ag Extension Programs and Outreach Director, Jay Harmon, who we've been talking today. Jay, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Jay. This is Farmier Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Again, in order to continue to produce this type of local Iowa content, we would love to have you join our community. Please follow the podcast as well as our social media channels at Field Forward Pod. Additionally, you can find me on social media at Geiger Reports, as well as WHO TV Channel 13 every weekday in their morning and noon hour programs. Again, I'm your host, David Geiger, and I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody.